Hi there, and welcome to Chronically Jill, the podcast where I, Jillian Hagen, also known as the Fibro Rebel online, will tell you all about my life with chronic illnesses, bring you more fun facts about fibromyalgia, and tell you the story of someone's day-to-day life with chronic illnesses. My pronouns are she, her. So this is a completely independent podcast which I am recording by myself in my kitchen. So there will occasionally be barking or kids or something, and there's just not much I can do about it right now. So please try to understand. This podcast definitely will contain explicit language, so be forewarned. As this is an independent podcast, I would love it if you supported me on Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can get access to early episodes, ad-free content, merch, and more. If that's not something you're interested in, that's absolutely okay. I'm thankful for your support in just listening, sharing, and subscribing. And now, more fun facts about fibromyalgia. Why is it that we have such a hard time regulating our body temperature? And why is it different for all of us? Some are more comfortable in the cold and others in heat. I know that I am personally way better off in the heat. I live in Canada, and from October to May, I'm basically uncomfortable 24/7. I always say that if there was somewhere warmer in Canada that I was able to live, I would be there in a second. Unfortunately, there isn't. Even last year when we had 47-degree weather, I was fine for the most part. Not in my house. Most of the time, at least. If we had AC going, it was okay, but there were parts in my house that were inhospitable at the time. I am going to throw in a reminder here that if you are on antidepressants like SSRIs or SNRIs, you are much more susceptible to the sun, so make sure that you are well hydrated and use lots of sunscreen. I'm also going to add that I am not a medical professional in any way, shape, or form. All of my information comes from research that I have done, my own personal experiences, the experiences of others that they have been kind enough to share with me, or doctors that I have talked to. Why is it that we have such a hard time regulating our temperature? Also, what do I mean by that? I mean that when we get cold, it's incredibly difficult to warm back up. Like, we feel it in our bones and our soul. There's a window open in my house somewhere, and even though my temperature gauge reads 21, Canadian, not American, my feet are freezing, and no matter how many socks I put on, they are staying that way, apparently. So thanks to the internet, I just found out that it's called temperature sensitivity. I always call it temperature regulation because of the lack of ability to regulate it, but we're going to go with what the internet says because the internet is always right, obviously. That was sarcastic. Please don't believe most of what you read on the internet, but this I believe is accurate. They don't know exactly what causes temperature sensitivity, but they believe that it's due to abnormalities in the autonomic nervous system, which deals with homeostasis, keeping the body within normal ranges of temperature and other things. People with fibromyalgia tend to have a lower body temperature than what is considered normal, and we are also much more sensitive to hot or cold stimuli. Basically, we feel pain in much less extreme situations than normal people. An example the internet gives is sunlight shining through a car window. To most people, it would feel mildly uncomfortable. To someone with fibro, it would feel just incredibly painful. Something I've uncovered in my research, which is just super interesting, is that people who don't feel pain at all, a super rare condition, can feel changes in temperature. This suggests that the same nerves that feel temperature are different from the ones that feel pain. This led doctors to discover that nerves that feel temperature are ones that they had previously thought only dealt with blood flow. They also discovered that those of us with fibro have extra of those nerves that sense temperature around our AV shunts. Now, AV shunts allow us to adjust blood flow during temperature changes. So basically that means that when our body is adjusting our blood flow to either send more or less blood, whether we're cold or hot, that's why we feel pain associated with that, or something to that extent. It's a fairly new study and the only one of its kind, so don't take this as the absolute truth, but I thought it was interesting, so I threw it in. Temperature changes can be like a domino effect for us. If we get too hot or too cold, it can trigger migraines, musculoskeletal pain, and more. The best way to deal with it is to try to avoid the extremes, which is absolutely ridiculous advice because no one can do that. There's no magical place in the world that we can go live where it's always autumn or always springtime. And if there is, can you tell me where it is so I can go? Please? I always like to have layers with me just in case we end up somewhere that isn't a comfortable temperature, like including bringing extra pairs of shoes and stuff like that. That's why my purse is usually so big. If you have any tips or tricks for temperature regulation, please come join our Facebook group. The link is in my link tree, which is linktree.com/thefibrorebel. How many times did I just say link? Anyways, we also have a Facebook group now for this podcast. So come find us on Facebook at Chronically Jill Podcast. We would love to have you in either of those places. So now, without much further ado, I said that super awkwardly. I give you my interview with Betsy. So welcome. Elizabeth, do you go by Elizabeth?
I go by Betsy.
Betsy?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's not a name you hear very often anymore, but I've always really liked it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm glad I checked. So Betsy, how's your day been going so far?
Not too bad. Woke up really early because I didn't sleep well last night and took a little nap already. So I've got one nap in for the day.
And are you on the East Coast somewhere?
I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, okay. Yeah, because I'm on the West Coast and it's 8:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I could already take a nap, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
That's just kind of how I feel all the time. Okay, so you have fibromyalgia.
I do.
And do you have anything else that goes along with it or just fibro?
I have IBS. I have treatment-resistant depression. I have generalized anxiety, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. All the things that come along with chronic illnesses, right?
Yeah.
The IBS is the worst for me personally.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I had an attack at 3 a.m. last night, and my poor husband, his bed is very close to our bathroom, or his side of the bed is very close to our bathroom. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's dying. Like, I think so. But so how long have you been diagnosed for?
I've been diagnosed for about 5 years, but it's been a long journey of getting that diagnosis. So I'm probably more like 11 or 12 years with fibromyalgia.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about the diagnosis process and why it took so long.
First of all, most of the doctors are just thinking, oh, well, go to a chiropractor, or, we'll send you to some physical therapy and see if maybe that helps your pain, or, and I did finally get a doctor that said, hey, here's the deal. I can't solve the world's problems, but I think you might have something called fibromyalgia. And she sent me to a pain doctor, and they went through all of the pressure points and everything, the trigger points, and I matched on pretty much all of them. So they deducted at that time that I did have fibromyalgia.
Okay. And was it just you just saw the pain doctor? You didn't go to a rheumatologist or anything?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, neither did I. I know I'm waiting for one right now, but it takes so
even
long.
Far between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're in the States, so the healthcare system's pretty different out there.
Yes.
Than it is here in Canada. So what's it like navigating that with a chronic illness?
Well, first off, my doctor that I really loved, that got me into the point where I was diagnosed, she retired, and so I had to get a new doctor. My new doctor doesn't necessarily believe that fibromyalgia is a thing. So we're kind of back to square one almost. And I have asked to see a rheumatologist, and getting a referral for that has been just, it's just like ridiculous.
That must be so frustrating.
Yeah.
I know I've talked to, I was in the hospital once, and a doctor said that he didn't believe in fibromyalgia. And like, like that's okay, but I have something, and I personally think it's going to go one way or the other. They're either going to figure out that it's real, that they know that it's real, and that we're going to be able to get better treatment for it. Or they're going to be like, oh, look at this new information we learned. It's actually, fibromyalgia isn't a thing. It's all part of this. And then we'll get better treatment, because that's how science works. Like,
Right.
they're not always right about everything. They can change, like, new information changes stuff. But right now it's real. It bugs me that they don't accept that there are bad things going on with us just because they don't believe in it.
Right. Maybe if it had some other name or some other, something, maybe it would be more, normalized. I don't know, but it's not like fibromyalgia is brand new either. So,
No.
there's lots of people that have it. And how about we just agree that it's a thing and help the people that are suffering with it.
Yeah. Or don't believe in it, but understand that we still feel what we feel, and treat us for what we are feeling. Because, like, I don't feel like crap every day for no reason.
Exactly.
So tell me about your day-to-day life. Like, what's a good day? What's a bad day?
Well, right now I'm in the middle of a flare. So it's been bad days upon bad days upon bad days. So it's usually, I've been waking up every 2 hours during the night because I can't sleep because of the pain, trying to get readjusted and comfortable. Get up, and I'm up for a little while, and then realize I'm just absolutely exhausted, and take a nap and sleep for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then get back up and try to eat something and hope that I don't have to run to the bathroom. And it's just like day long napping and trying to just function. I do have brain fog really bad right now. So last night I made some dinner and left the oven on until I went to bed, and realized that, well, what is that smell coming from the kitchen? And it's been, hours that I left the oven on, and I'm like, this is not good. But a good day would be, I can get up, I can do some yoga, I can, go to work. I have a semi-sedentary job, so it's not that big of a problem. But yeah, but going to work does exhaust me as well too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a chair all day, your brain's working.
Right.
People don't understand that, if you have chronic illnesses or anything, sitting in a chair all day is hard.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be, but it is. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what do your flares look like? Like when you get them, do you get migraines, the skin stuff, just pain?
Mostly it's kind of pain everywhere. I usually do wind up getting some sort of a migraine in the middle of it. Hopefully I can usually try to fend those off a little bit. But I deal with a lot of things, like I don't want materials touching me at all, because my skin is so sensitive. I'm hypersensitive to scents when I am in a flare. I have a wax warmer in my living room, and even when it's off, the smell of it when I'm in the flare is ridiculous. Yeah, so it's things like that.
I totally feel the clothing thing.
Oh yeah.
There's so many of like just clothes that I have that I can't wear anymore just because they have seams that are uncomfortable or tags in the wrong place or they're the wrong material. But
Right.
it's mostly on my shoulders for me. So I
Yeah.
like
Yep.
bras or like when like this shirt has a seam right here and it's not super uncomfortable, but I can feel it. And I know if I was in a flare, it wouldn't be good. So do you take any medication for your fibro or?
I don't. I don't. They tried me on some different medications, but the side effects were so bad that I wasn't able to continue with them, or either the side effects were bad or they just didn't work for me.
If you don't mind me asking, what ones did you try, or if you do remember?
We I tried gabapentin, which just they kept increasing the dose and increasing the dose and increasing the dose, and it wasn't working. Um, we did try Lyrica, which Lyrica, I wound up getting my legs and hands swelled up like balloons. So even though it felt like it was working, it was causing side effects that were not good. So um, we kind of branched off of that. Some of the other ones that we could have tried were the antidepressant ones, but because I've had such a hard time with my depression getting medication that works for me, we didn't want to take me off of my head meds just to try to fix the fibro. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. I know how hard it is to switch up antidepressants and stuff like that. And it really messes with you for a bit. So if you can,
Yeah,
if you're on a good regimen, then it's
exactly.
you don't want to mess with it. You said that you said that you worked. So is that something that you do part-time or full-time or?
I do part-time work. I work at a homeless shelter.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's a family homeless shelter. We're actually moving to a new shelter. They built a larger one that can house single males, and families all together. And so right now we're kind of in the process of getting stuff moved. But I work like 24 hours a week because that's about all I can handle. I mean, it's it's emotionally draining more so than physically draining, but either way, it does affect me fibromyalgia wise and just in general.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband works with adults who have conditions where they can't live alone and they need 24-hour care. And I know how like just emotionally draining that is on him. And
Oh yeah.
he's fully abled and all that stuff. And
Right.
just
Right.
I I couldn't do it. It would break me. So you're incredibly strong and thank you for doing that work because it's so necessary. And I think so many people just either don't think about it or try not to think about it.
Right. Well, and the thing is we're not just a shelter where people just drop in and hang out and go home, go wherever they're going to go. We do like a 90-day program with the clients and help them find housing, get resources, mental health resources, et cetera. And we make sure they're going to be on their feet before we put them out the door. So it's really a cool thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like really amazing.
Yeah.
And like, were you doing 40 hours a week before or and you had to go down or is it just kind of always been a part-time?
Um, when I, well, the last couple jobs that I've had have been part-time. Prior to that, I was working full-time, but um, I wound up leaving that job, the full-time job, partially because I couldn't handle it physically anymore. And the other part was I have a weird food allergy. I have a airborne allergy to tomatoes. So if somebody heats tomatoes up, I can go into anaphylactic shock. And people were heating up tomatoes at work, and I was having reactions almost on the daily. So I wound up finding new employment where they would accommodate that.
I didn't know you could have like airborne allergies to food. That's kind of terrifying.
It is. It is very.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you found a job that accommodates that. I can't imagine that one wouldn't. Like,
Oh, you'd be surprised
yeah.
because tomato is such an odd one. So, if it was a peanut allergy, it would be more common. But because I have this odd thing, it's, oh, really? You have that? It's just like fibromyalgia all over again.
Yeah, right. Is that your only like food thing, or have you been suggested to like go off gluten or do the autoimmune diet or anything like that with
Yeah,
doctors?
I've done the whole gamut. I've been
Yeah.
off milk, wheat, soybean. I'm allergic to soybeans. I'm allergic to kiwi fruit, grapes, shellfish, walnuts, just a bunch of stuff. And then environmental allergies as well. So anytime I get a flare up of my allergies, sometimes that also can cause a flare up with my fibro as well, which is crazy, but it happens.
It's all connected, right? When something goes wrong, your body's like, haha, no, everything. I'm going to make everything go wrong for you now.
Right, right.
Did any of them work for you? Like the diets or anything that they tried
No,
to put you on? No. Yeah.
no. Yeah, no, nothing. I mean, I just stay away from the stuff that I know that I have reactions to and hope for the best.
Yeah. I've talked to so many people and like the autoimmune diets and the cutting out gluten and all that, they work really well for some people. And not me. I don't think I could do it even if it worked. I like
Right.
food. I like food a lot.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I like bread, so there's a problem with that. The gluten one would be a real big issue with me.
yeah, same with sugar. Like I don't even eat that much sugar, but I like having like a chocolate bar or something sometimes. And I would be really sad if I couldn't do that anymore.
Absolutely.
So what's your home life like? Like are you married, kids?
Nope, I'm single with 3 cats,
Yeah.
and um my mom lives next door to me, so we kind of have like this family property where on the 17 acres, it's my mom, my brother, and his wife, and myself. And um, there's a lot of outside stuff that has to get done. And because we kind of live in the country. And so my mom and brother come and help me a lot with things. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's just me and my 3 kitties.
I have 3 cats too. I love cats
I do too.
and dogs. I have 2 dogs somewhere too. And 4 kids. It's busy. We have a busy house. It's it's nice when the kids are all in school. It's like quiet in here right now and none of my animals are fighting. But that's so cool living out in the country though. Do you love it?
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would. We're in the middle of like suburbia and I do not like it. Not a fan, but it's nice. We're by the
Well,
forest, but
yeah, when the trees sprout their leaves in the springtime, um, you can't see my house from the highway. So it's like I'm kind of enclosed in a tree jungle here.
oh, that's so nice. That's like my dream. But you're like solely, I mean, obviously you live on your own, but you're okay living on your own with like oh my brain just went to mush. Like you feel like you're supported enough, you're functioning on your own. That sounds so bad. I can't ask.
Yeah, no, no,
Oh my
I
gosh.
I feel like I can function on my own most of the time. I mean, there are things that I need help with, and there are things that I have adapted into my house. Like I've felt really bad getting a shower seat, but I got a shower seat and it makes showering so much easier. I can cook and clean. who, who likes cleaning? But I usually get some help with like on some days, my mom will just come over and she'll just be like, what do you need help with? Do you need help with taking your garbage down to the curb or, whatever? And it's really helpful. It's really, really helpful. And if I didn't have that, I could still do stuff, but it wouldn't get done as quickly.
Like I couldn't function on my own without any help. So like I wasn't trying to be rude or anything with that.
Oh, no.
It just kind of came out weird.
No, I totally get it.
We have thankfully my kids are all old enough to do chores, so they help out a lot. And we have cleaners that come once a month and they do all the floors, all like the scrubbing of the bathrooms and everything that I just can't do most of the time. So that's really helpful.
Yeah.
But
my mom loves to come and vacuum my house for me. So I'm like, you can vacuum. I can sit. I have a stool that I sit at when I wash the dishes. And so that works out. But vacuuming is a big chore for me.
yeah, I can't vacuum. I can't mop or anything. I get dizzy.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, like it's okay, but I can't do it regularly. It's
Right.
it's too much. Same with, well, like I said, we have 4 kids and the laundry just piles up all the time. And I did yesterday and today. I've done like 10 loads of laundry just because I had like an okay day and I needed to get done. And then it'll be good for like a couple of weeks and then it'll start piling up again.
Yep, exactly.
And trying to get my husband's mostly okay with my weird rhythms when it comes to housework, because it'll be like really good for a little bit and then it'll be really down, and he's understanding, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Hard on anyone. Sue, sorry. I have a list of questions and it disappeared off my phone. So what advice would you have for anyone who's either just starting the diagnosis process or who has just been newly diagnosed?
I would say first off is be gentle with yourself and know that not every day is going to be, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Slow and steady wins the race sort of thing. And get yourself some good heat packs that you can microwave and put on your shoulders. Just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. The dishes will be there tomorrow. The floors will still be there tomorrow. You can't do everything in one day, and just advocate for yourself when it comes to getting diagnosed, and write down things like where you're hurting, what symptoms you're having, and take that with you to every doctor's appointment so you can reiterate to them, this is what's going on.
Yeah, I love that advice. I tell so many people that because it's so different saying, oh, I have headaches, I'm tired all the time, or where you actually go in like with a book and you say, this is what yesterday was, this is what today was, and the day before and the day before. And it's something to look at, right? It's more tangible.
Right. And there are apps where you can track your pain levels and everything too. So that's—
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you know the names of them?
Oh, I'm trying to think of the one that I use. It had an update and now it's not working very well anymore. So if you look up pain tracker,
okay,
there's different pain scale tracker, manage my pain, symptom and mood tracker. Yeah, there's lots of different apps when it comes to pain trackers.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. I'll look up some and I'll link them in the show notes for this episode if anyone's interested, because I didn't even know that was a thing. It makes sense that it's a thing. Like there's period trackers and all sorts of things.
Right.
Just never really considered to look.
And some of them you can actually do, they actually have where on your body it's hurting. You can mark off on a diagram and save it. And then some of them even you can print out the data and give it right to your doctor.
Yeah, that would be so handy because Yeah, I think making your doctors really look and really make them understand exactly what every day is for you is important, because I don't know. I feel like doctors don't listen enough.
Right.
Like they don't really listen. You're just another, oh, okay, yeah, you're in pain here, have some painkillers, bye.
Yeah,
But they never really want to get down to what the real problem is.
exactly.
Like I watch medical shows all the time. I love them, like Grey's Anatomy
I,
and stuff. And
me too.
but they're always like, someone goes into the hospital and they're like, oh, we don't know what's wrong with you, but we're gonna keep you here until we find out exactly what's wrong, and we're not gonna stop. And I'm like, I've never had that experience.
Yeah, no kidding. I tell my friends and family that I want House MD to be my doctor.
Yeah, right. Like just because, and for me now, I've had a fibromyalgia diagnosis for 2 years, and now my doctor is, oh, it might be Ehlers-Danlos either as well or instead of, and I'm like, oh, really? So now I'm waiting for a rheumatologist, but I could have been on that waiting list 2 years ago when
Right.
but I don't know. So what advice would you have for like a caretaker, someone whose partner or someone they love or child or whatever, anyone is diagnosed with a chronic illness?
I would say if someone that's a caretaker, to be patient is an important thing, and to understand that sometimes even little things are hard for us to do. So, you know, even just the little things that you can do to help out are amazing. My cat's hopping up behind me.
All my animals disappear whenever I'm on my computer. Sorry. So being patient.
Being patient is probably, I would say, being patient and just help with what you can. I mean, doing things like, hey, maybe you need to go rest for a while, or, reminding us that, hey, I know you're struggling, and, be communicative, and is there anything I can help you with that would make you feel better?
Yeah, I love that advice. I often need to be told to stop and rest.
Yeah.
I hate feeling lazy, because that's how people made me feel most of my life before I was diagnosed. And then, suddenly everyone about faces and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry you've been dealing with that for so long. And I'm like, you called me lazy 2 weeks ago. Like,
Exactly.
But thanks. And so you struggle with like anxiety and depression too. Do you have any like little things that help you through the day, or?
I make time during the day to do like deep breathing exercises. And that is extremely helpful, especially with my anxiety. With my depression, I have to get outside every day. I don't care how warm it is or how cool it is. I need to get out there and just breathe some fresh air, because if I stay in the house, that it just turns into, here I am in my big cocoon and I can't leave, and I'm just going to sit here and be sad, and seeing some birds outside, or getting some fresh air definitely does help.
Yeah. And do you struggle with like making yourself go outside ever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I struggle with suicidal ideation like on the daily. So, it's kind of like, oh, well, when I'm in a flare, it even gets worse, because then I'm like, oh, I'm in pain. So maybe I should just, make it all end. Oh gosh, no.
Oh, I feel that. Those intrusive thoughts, they're the worst.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that too. And I've been like 6 months on a really good like anxiety and depression meds, and they've been really good for me, but it still doesn't fully go away.
Oh no.
Ever, like
No.
So this is I've had people that really struggle with answering this question, but has having like fibromyalgia or chronic illnesses or anything, has it brought anything good to your life or positive?
I think it's given me more patience. It's made me focus more on self-care for myself, which I'm one of these people that wants to do for everybody and help everybody. And it's made me make myself more of a priority, which has never been my entire life, sort of thing. So I'm always helping everybody out. And now I help myself out a little bit and am more gentle with myself. So I think that's one of the big things. Plus yoga. Yoga is a really good thing that I've found. Even gentle yoga for fibromyalgia is helpful. So
that's really cool. I love yoga, but I never do it.
Yeah.
Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, I feel so good. But I never do it. And I hate it. I have that like brain, like the executive dysfunction or whatever it is, where I want to do it, but I can't. And
right. Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, yoga is so good. Okay. Sorry. So you're in Wisconsin. It gets pretty cold there. Do you find that the cold affects your fibro more, the hot?
This month has affected. We've gone from like almost 80 degrees one day to 40 the next day. Rain, snow, anytime the barometric pressure changes, it seems like it can throw me into a flare. I've pretty much been in a flare the whole month of April. It's just not the inconsistencies with the weather. Now, in the summertime when it's warm, I feel better, but I can't stand the heat. So it's kind of like great, I feel a little bit better, but I'm sweating my butt off. I don't like that either. And if it's more consistent, like in the wintertime too, but going from inside to outside, that also affects it too. So weather definitely plays a big part.
Yeah, the barometric pressure is this. It's here right now. It snowed a little yesterday. The day before it was 19 degrees, but that's pretty warm here. I struggle with the Canadian to American
right
translation, but yeah, it's been snowing. It's been hot. Like we were wearing shorts and tank tops, and then it's cold again today and rainy, and it's just everywhere.
Yep.
The springtime kills me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But it gets really cold where you are though, doesn't it? Like really cold?
Yeah, it gets really cold.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That would not happening. And just before we end, do you have anything that you want to add?
When you're on your fibro journey, just hang in there and know that eventually you'll be believed. Someone will, help you out, and that there are other people that are there, so you're not alone.
Yeah, never stop fighting for a diagnosis because everyone deserves one.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I had a really nice time talking to you today.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you too.
Yeah, I want to really thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Just again, really huge thanks to Betsy for talking with me today. I cannot imagine living in Wisconsin and dealing with those winters, so good on you. And if being on the podcast is something that you would be interested in, please go to chronicallyjill.ca and fill out the form. And once again, this is an independent podcast, which I am recording, editing, and doing everything myself. So if you would like to show your support, you can head on over to my Patreon, and for as little as $2 a month, you can get access to early episodes, ad-free content, merch, and a lot more. And if that's not something you're interested in, just listening, subscribing, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, and sharing is awesome. So thank you so much for listening today. I hope you are all having a fantastic week. Lots of love and gentle hugs.